What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown University. This is our third time trying this recording. You are here with me, your host, once again, Zach, and his beautiful co-hosts, Matt and Derek. What's going on, boys? Be redundant for us, but not for the viewers. How was your guys' weekends?
Well, my weekend was great. Did absolutely nothing. Well, went to the winery yesterday with the girlfriend. She gave me a great date. It was amazing. The wedding last weekend, fantastic. Sorry I wasn't here, guys. Sorry I didn't get to go on the VIP list. This is the third time going through this, so I'm going through it really quick again. So, in all, my weekend's been okay. It's Sunday. It's sunny. I'm happy. You guys, how's your weekend going? Matt, how old are you?
Hello again. Hi, I'm old. I went to the bar, 9 o'clock, left early. Had a lot of fun at home. Yeah, I don't want to go through my whole spiel again. I'm old.
My weekend's good other than this. This is really annoying.
It was good up until now.
But let's try this again for a third time. So what do we got in store for today? Red Wings news, hockey-related news, and based on the topics, obviously, we are going to go in depth about our community tab on the polls that we have posted for you guys. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Let's start with some not great news about new forward for the Detroit Red Wings, Daniel Sprong, where former INDYCAR driver Zachary, Claman, DeMelo was assaulted by Detroit Red Wings player Daniel Sprong. Why? Hasn't even put on a jersey yet. Hasn't played one single game. Why? What do you guys think about this?
It's not the greatest look for somebody who's on their first year with Detroit, who hasn't even put on a jersey yet, who's not really skated with the team at all. Not a great look, but from what we've been going over, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's a 1-year deal at $2 million. It's not the worst thing to happen. It's an easy buyout for the Red Wings, but again, not the best look for Detroit there and our new player, and especially happening in downtown Detroit. So rough look.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more interesting stories to come out of the offseason, excuse me. Never would have thought that I'd see a crossover between INDYCAR and the Red Wings, but here it is, and I didn't think it would also be this kind of story. But actually, after our second attempted recording failed, Derek found out that this happened at the Detroit Grand Prix, which was 2 months ago. So why is this all of a sudden now coming out 2 months later in August? That's what I don't understand. And obviously, there's two sides to every story. I think just with the legal ramifications, I don't think we're going to hear much about this until a police report is made and all that gets settled. But yeah, it's definitely an odd story. I really hope that Daniel Sprong, I mean, who really knows, honestly? This is a weird one. Sure, he might have been provoked or something, but I saw the pictures of the guy in the aftermath, and it looked pretty gnarly. So, don't really know how you can justify doing that to someone. But, yeah, really wild story. Not what I expected to see in the middle of August in the offseason.
And it's not I think it's pretty strange that he would even post it on his Instagram story. To be honest with you, if I got my butt kicked by anyone, I'm not going to Instagram and posting about it. That's not my first initial thought, right? And if you're saying it's true that the Detroit Grand Prix, and that's where it happened, was 2 months ago, why are you doing it? This happened a couple days ago, right? I think it was Thursday or Wednesday of this past week. So why are you doing it just now and then saying, oh, I can't go in much more depth about it because of legal? So why? What are you trying to accomplish here? You're just trying to tarnish the name of Daniel Sprong, but like you said, Derek, even if it is true, which I don't think that he is mistaken, whoever did this, whether or not if it was Daniel Sprong, if it wasn't, you're just randomly saying Daniel Sprong, okay, that makes no sense. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. So what do you guys think about that? Is there a reason why he's posting this on Instagram now? Is it just for attention? Is it because he's an INDYCAR driver? I don't know too much about INDYCAR drivers, to be honest with you guys. So Matt, you're into Formula One, so maybe
I mean, I'm a pretty big Formula One guy. Not as in INDYCAR as I am Formula One, but I have watched a few races. I've literally never heard of this guy in my entire life. So who knows? Maybe he's just trying to get attention off the internet. What you said kind of brings up a funny possibility. What if he was just at the bar and Daniel Sprong just like, hey, I'm Daniel Sprong and I'm going to beat your ass. Yeah, how would he know who that is? Like I don't really know. It's a very weird story, and it's there's definitely been worse stories in the offseason with NHL players involved. So I kind of hope that this is just going to get settled, in a legal manner, and Sprong comes out of this looking okay. I don't know. It's a weird one.
I mean, after the points he put up last season, I would still hope that he makes the team for us a little bit.
Shit, we could
but
use
at
him.
the same time, I want more details. I can't make any judgment call. I've heard one side. I've heard nothing from Sprong's team at this point. So I need more details. I want to know exactly what happened. I need a video of the incident so I can see it for myself. I just want to see if he actually walked back and just clocked him right in the face for no reason, because that's what I read he did. Don't know.
That's what I choose to believe.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the worst thing that could ever happen to a Red Wings player, or the fact that he did this to someone else. Obviously, this is definitely going to go into court or whatever it is. Just hopefully Steve Yzerman just looks at him and says, "What the hell were you thinking?" Just keep the off-ice antics to yourself. Just try to be a more gentleman towards people, especially when you're out drinking, and just come and play hockey, right? Because we definitely need you here. So let's go ahead and continue. So let's talk about a soon-to-be former Red Wings prospect, Robert Mastrosimone, who is the first prospect to not sign with the club drafted by Steve Yzerman. He was in the 2019 draft year for the Red Wings, and are we disappointed that he might not re-sign? To take it a little further, can we kind of look back and consider the 2019 draft year a bust outside of Seider, Albert Johansson, and Elmer Soderblom?
I think if you're looking at the 2019 year and you're saying that you have three guys who are like legit prospects that might be NHL regulars, it's hard to call that a bust. But if that is the biggest bust year in the Yzer plan, then goddamn, we're really doing something right. But yeah, I do remember being fairly hyped about this guy coming out of 2019. Like, obviously that was a while ago, so I don't remember it that well, but I seem to remember that he was like kind of like a faller in draft day, and we got him as the 54th pick, so he was a second round pick. He never really did anything amazing in college. Like, he never really impressed that much, where we kind of thought that, oh, this is definitely going to be a guy who, I mean, we don't even think about him as being like a fourth line guy at some point in the future. We were kind of just like, all right, well, it's not looking good. Let's just see what he can do. But I don't know if I'm necessarily disappointed that he's not going to re-sign with the team and he's essentially just going to be a free agent and choose somewhere else. I think we have enough guys in the prospect pool where this really won't be that much of a big deal. And I think that's also kind of why he's not getting re-signed, because we just have, I mean, just off the top of my head, Carter Mazer, Lombardi, Casper, Danielson, 4 forwards that are light years ahead of him right now, and they're like 3 years younger. So I think that's pretty much all it is. And I said it to you guys earlier, I really feel like this is the type of guy who should just hit free agency and maybe try and sign with a team like, I don't know, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, maybe San Jose, just teams that want like a bigger prospect pool. I think he'd be better off doing that, and maybe we'll get a shot there. So yeah, it's a little disappointing, but I wish the kid luck.
Derek?
Yeah, Matt's pretty much right with everything he said. We have such a depth of a pool of centers right now that are all younger than him. And Robertson, though he did have a good season coming into the draft year, I mean, 60 points in 54 games in the USHL, then 15 in the playoffs. But like Matt said, he didn't really flourish when he went to college or Boston. I think his best was 2022 when he got 25 points. He did for Arizona State this last year, got 42 points in 38 games. So his stock went a little up there, but again, 5'10", 170 pounds, 22 years old. There's really not much more that we can get out of him at that point. I hope all the best out on free agency. Someone, like Matt said, like the Penguins, someone who needs some little more younger players that could add to their depth a little bit, which I could see him possibly doing for somebody else. But with the Red Wings, we just not something we really need to hold on to right now. So I can see why we're just letting him slip to free agency.
Yeah, he kind of fell in the prospect pool, right? Like 2019, 2020, there was a decent amount of hype around him. I mean, 5'10", 170 pounds right now. Talking about his this is what it says on Elite Prospects on his profile, and this is what scouts had to say. This is from McKean's Hockey back in 2019 after his draft year, or during his draft year. He is the type of player who has a nonstop motor and plays a fearless brand of hockey. And then from Future Considerations in 2019, says has a quick, accurate release on his shot, and he is an expert at using toe drags to get around defenders. So that was a lot to be excited about him. But as time went on, he didn't really outproduce playing in college. And then by the time you get to right now, you just look at, he's already played 4 years in college, right? So you look at our AHL team, the Grand Rapids Griffins, there's really no spot for him. So you guys are kind of right, as Matt, when you say that, just become a free agent, go to a team that has a lacking prospect pool to where you might have a better opportunity to make the team out of camp or be a regular in the AHL. So good luck to him. Sorry you couldn't be a Red Wing, but signs are pointing towards that he will not sign with the club, unfortunately. So before or I lose internet or this recording stops for the third time, let's go ahead and move on. Let's see if this works for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Vlad. Derek, I'll let you go ahead and take this one over since you were the one who brought light onto this one.
Good old Vlad. No one probably will remember unless you're the age of 30 plus. Maybe Zach might remember this a little bit just because he's old balls. But 1997, yeah, you're welcome, buddy. 1997 playoff or Stanley Cup champions, Vladimir Konstantinov. Unfortunately for him, 7 days after they won the Stanley Cup, he ended up getting in a terrible limo accident, which pretty much took him out of playing hockey for the rest of his life. You might have seen some images of him being reeled out in the wheelchair onto the ice in '98. Beautiful sight to see, but unfortunately, in Michigan, a lot of accidents and all that therapy he needed weren't actually going to be covered by any of his insurances. There was some weird law that went enacted in 2019 that changed that, but unfortunately, everything before 2019 was not covered for all his therapies and whatnot. So he's kind of been out there just doing signings, doing meet and greets, doing all these things he can physically do to just pretty much make money for himself, to be able to put himself through all this care that he needs. And fortunately, some good news is popping up around the Michigan area that law is going to be overturned again, and he's going to be able to get the care that he actually needs, and it's going to go all the way back for him. So a lot of people, not just including Vlad here, are going to be able to be covered for all these injuries and therapy sessions, and all this excessive amount of money that they have to pay to these doctors out of pocket is now going to be covered for them in the future. So just a nice little highlight to see, a nice little glimmer of hope there for one of our old Red Wings stars for the team, one of our big old defensemen, finally getting some care that he actually needs, and a lot of other people. So it's good to see that for him out there, which honestly, before I saw that article, I didn't know anything about that until then. So I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, I think it was right around Christmas time. I saw it was probably on social media that I saw that I think it's his agent or someone like that came out saying like, hey, like we're selling signed autographed cards, and this goes towards supporting Vlad in his efforts to receive the help that he needs for his health. So I ended up getting a card. I gave it to my dad for Christmas, which was pretty cool. One thing that I will mention is it's pretty, part of my language, but it's kind of shitty that the Red Wings, Little Caesars, the Illiches did not help with any of these expenses. I think that's kind of shitty. Like I said, once again, I'll say it again, that they couldn't even help him out. They're a multi-billion-dollar company that could have helped him out easily. Like just give him a little bit of insurance help, honestly. So, Matt, do you have a take on this?
Yeah, I think it's just good to see that he's finally going to get the care that he needs, and he's not going to have to basically rely on his own efforts to get the care that. I mean, it's a basic human right to get the care that he needs. I mean, it's an accident that was not his fault. Maybe if he was the one who was driving drunk, it would be a different thing. But even still, you need the care for that. And yeah, I definitely agree with you, Zach. It drives me crazy that the Ilitches can't just foot the bill for him because they're worth billions and billions of dollars. I mean, we keep hearing about this story. It goes viral like I feel like every month that Mike Ilitch paid for Rosa Parks' apartment when she was living in Detroit. Why can't the Ilitches pay for his bill? I mean, he's a Red Wings. I'd consider him a Red Wings legend. You know, he's a Cup champ, and
Yeah.
obviously with this accident, who knows? Who knows if this accident didn't happen, how much better of a player he would be. I mean, for sure he would have been on that next team that won the cup. But yeah, it's good to see that he's finally getting care. I'm glad that it's finally happening now, and now we don't have to have these conversations, like these bigger conversations about just healthcare in general, and not only Michigan but the country of the United States. So he's finally being taken care of, and I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, 100%. I do honestly, just to go a little bit further, I do believe that the Red Wings probably could have won a couple more cups. He was just an
Oh yeah,
absolute phenomenal player.
yeah.
That Russian 5 group was just insane. He was an overall great defenseman. I do think at that time that he was one of the best defensemen in the league at that time. So it really does suck to see what happened to him, and but it's really good to see that he's finally getting the treatment, like you said, Matt. It's a basic human right that you should be able to take care of yourself, whether if that's through the government, the state, family, whoever, whatever. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into not really too much outside of Red Wings news that we actually have, unless someone wants to speak now or forever hold their peace. But we can actually go right into our YouTube community tab where we've done quite a few extensive polls from our fans, the viewers. So this is kind of where it's going to get really weird. So give me uno momento. All right, so the first one that we have was posted over a month ago, as you guys can see, and I'll just read it off. With the Detroit Red Wings and Steve Yzerman making a trade for two-time 40-goal scorer Alex Debrincat, what should the top line look like come opening night roster of the regular season? Out of the 36 votes, which if you guys don't vote on these, just head on over to their community tab, which is just a couple tabs over, as you can see right there. It's right here. I'll even hover over it. Go ahead and vote on those. We got 36 votes, but out of the 36 votes, 61% of you said that the top line would be Debrincat on the left, Larkin in the middle, and Raymond on the right. Do you guys agree on this? And if you guys do agree on this, well, actually, whether if you do or not, can you potentially see one of these other lines being utilized at the start of opening night?
I'm pretty sure I'm full on board with that 61% that we got up there. I feel like that is definitely going to be the first line opening roster right there for us for the first couple games at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Just looking like the caliber of player we have on the roster, that Debrincat, Larkin, Raymond line definitely makes a lot of sense. But to be honest, I could see a Rasmussen on that line too. I think those two wingers are both below 6 foot, and I think Larkin is like just above 6 foot or something like that. So I kind of feel like you might want to have like a big, scary physical presence on that first line. I mean, we all know Michael Rasmussen. He's got serial killer eyes. I would not want to meet that guy in the dark alley in Detroit. But the only problem there is Rasmussen this past season, I think that was like his best career season, and he was still below 30 points. Obviously, he got injured, so there was probably a lot more that would have come if he had stayed healthy, but I do feel that he's maybe not quite that caliber of player who should be on the first line, but I really would not hate it. I kind of feel like, I mean, this might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but if this team is good enough to make playoffs this year, I could say that as the first line in the playoffs. Like, it's going to be a lot more physical out there. You're going to want to protect your two top players. Put a Rasmussen up there. He won't let anybody touch those guys. So, yeah, I think both that 61% and the 17%, those are both very possible options. I could see Perron too, but I don't really feel that we need to put Perron on the first line anymore and that we have to brink it. So, yeah, I honestly like all of these options to be completely honest.
Yeah, for myself, I guess the other option that I would see would definitely be the ones that you mentioned, Rasmussen being one of the taller players and he has the serial killer eyes for sure. So he's just a big body out there. He definitely likes to protect his teammates. So that's good. I would definitely select that one. I also wouldn't mind Perron being on the top line only because he knows how to dish the puck. And then we know that Larkin can score 30 plus goals in a season. So if you're looking for someone for extra oomph on the passing, Perron can score too, right? He has a good shot and he just knows where to put himself. Really good hockey IQ. So all three of those, the top options, can be real dangerous lines. There's going to be some mixing and matching throughout the year, whether if that's due to injury or just changing things up a bit because of teams game planning against you. But I do think come opening night roster, it is going to be the 61% of Debrincat, Larkin, and Raymond for sure. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. And the next one we have for the 2023-24 season, the Detroit Red Wings will finish a blank in the Atlantic Division, and we have a tie out of 21 votes, fourth and fifth. So if we just wanted to combine those, we have fourth and fifth, and I'm pretty sure when we did one of our episodes talking about it, that's right on to where we mentioned that the Red Wings would finish, right? I said they would finish fifth in the Atlantic, and they would come in as the second wild card spot, with the fourth coming out of the Atlantic as well. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I'm pretty sure in our picks, I was the one who picking fourth because, the Red Wings are the Red Wings, so I'm just giving them all full faith for this season. Shoot me later because, obviously, I'm going to knock on wood right now just because I'm hoping for that to actually happen. But this, no matter all the haters out there and what everyone likes to say about the Red Wings, I think those are very viable situations for us. Like fourth and fifth, depending on how the team works out here in the next year. No injuries, everybody stays healthy. Very easy option as long as the team sticks together and it has that good camaraderie that we're hoping that they put together with these brand new players coming in. Very viable. Very doable for us.
Yeah, I really do like what I'm seeing here. I don't know how realistic it is, but I would definitely love them to finish fourth or fifth in the division. I really feel that the Red Wings could finish as high as fifth, and depending on what the Eastern Conference looks like in general, that could be enough for a second wildcard spot. I remember back to our episode we did a few weeks ago about the Atlantic standings. I think we had the Red Wings in like sixth or fifth, which, that's not quite a divisional spot, but it could still potentially get you in the playoffs. I think one of the teams like either a Tampa or a Boston are really gonna have to fall on their face for the Red Wings to get up to fourth. I feel that a team like Buffalo would definitely have a bit more of a resurgence this next season. I know they just barely missed the playoffs, and if they had remembered how to play hockey in November this past season, they would have made the playoffs and maybe even a divisional spot. But it's definitely possible. The Red Wings they just need to win their division games. Those are the most important games going forward, which I guess it hasn't really changed. But if you want to make the playoffs, you got to beat your division opponents. So I could definitely see either one happening.
Yeah, you definitely got to stop losing to the Sens and the Sabres in the world, right? Like, you got to win those divisional games for sure. The one thing that I'm most surprised about this is 19%, and I know that's not a lot based on only the 21 votes. So start voting if you haven't voted. There's obviously 15 missing from the previous tab that we did. So, yeah, does that say 19? I can't read. Jesus. Yeah, 19% said third.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a little spicy? Is that a spicy take that the Red Wings could make it third in the Atlantic Division and outtake teams like Boston, Florida, even Tampa, Buffalo Sabres, Sens? Is that doable?
See, my question is, if you think they're finishing third, who is finishing 1 and 2 ahead of them? It's really kind of hard to wrap my head around them finishing third. I mean, obviously, like I just said, if you win your division games, you probably could finish as high as third, but really hard to think who of like Toronto, Florida, Boston, Tampa, and Buffalo, who is gonna fall below third? That's a hard one for me to see.
Boys, I'm calling it right now. Tampa's got to fall on their face. They're too old. Boston had their Cinderella run, and now they're over with, and they're going to be pretty much seventh in the division now. And then we're going to see Florida take another shit just because, obviously, they barely made it in last year. I liked their run for the Cup. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. They still shouldn't have made it, and I don't think they're going to make it next year with the same team that they have. So that's how it's going to happen. We're going to get third just like that. Switching up my answer now.
All right. I like it.
I'll take it.
All right. All right, let's move on to the next one. If the Detroit Red Wings are not in the playoff race come the 2024 trade deadline, which player or players are most likely to be traded? 48% of the 23 votes said David Perron, and then you had a tie between Robbie Fabry and Shane Gosebert. And I'm sure that if we redid this, a lot of people would probably have Daniel Sprong on here after punching someone in the face and sucker punching him. But do you guys agree with this poll that David Perron would be the first player to be traded?
I don't know the contract situation of everyone on here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that if we're not in the playoff race at the trade deadline, every single person who's on a 1 or 2 year deal is gone. Like Gostisbehere, I think he's on a 1 year deal. He's gone. Sprong will probably be gone. David Perron's contract, I think, is up next year, so he's gone. Literally everyone who's going to be UFA in the summer is gone. That's just the way you do it. So that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, Robbie Fabry is the only one that has more than a year left on his contract. So everyone else has a year left.
So I'd probably keep him out of everyone on this list, I would think.
Okay. Derek?
I mean, yeah, can I switch my answer to Daniel Sprong here? Let me go back to YouTube real quick and change that from Daddy P.
I won't trade him now.
But yeah, I mean, Matt's right. Like, after this year, if we don't make the playoffs, everybody's going to be up. Like, those 1-2 year deals are always the most risky. You're always there just to see what you can do, see if you can make the team, see what you can actually provide us. And if we don't get what we think you should be able to produce, we're going to send you. That's just how it works. I mean, Daddy P, I don't know what we're going to do with him. He's an old man now. He might just retire afterwards anyways. We might just throw him another 1 year deal, throw him on our fourth line so he could be that guy that we need to, show the young folks the way that they're going. But other than that, I think Matt's right. Most of them, except Fabry, would be sent.
So, quick question to follow up with this. Who on this list do you think would get you the highest return? Obviously, you don't have to look at points or anything because that's something that obviously hasn't happened yet. But in your minds, who do you think could get you the highest return? Me, possibly, it would be between Gosebert and it would be Perron. Gosebert simply because he plays left and right D. He always knows how to score. And David Perron, he's hockey IQ wizard, knows how to pass, and he's really good on the power play. Am I thinking first round pick? No, maybe not, but it all depends obviously how they produce this season and what Steve Yzerman's really looking to get and how teams really value these types of players. Fabry obviously is always injury ridden, so there's probably a good chance that he might not even be available at the trade deadline. Let's be real. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Gostisbehere. He's, on a 1 year deal. I think he's only making like $1 million plus or something like that. I think he's going to be the most valuable to teams because he can quarterback a power play, and that's going to be really, really important in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. A team will get in the playoffs. They're a great regular season team, and all of a sudden they get in. Their power play takes a massive poop, and they can't score in the power play, and they get waxed in the first round. So I think a guy like Gostisbehere, who puts up good offensive numbers, really is effective at quarterbacking a power play, I think he's going to get a really good return. Hell if I know what that's going to be. I mean, I would say it's not a first round pick, but a few years ago, Ben Sherratt got a first round pick from Florida. So who the hell even knows? But I would probably say he's the most valuable on this poll here.
I'd agree with you on that one, Matt. And also the fact, just to let you know, his deal is 1 year, a little over $4 million, actually. But at the same time, I think you guys are right. He just brings the most to the table, being left and right wing, or left and right D out there. And with his track record that he has, he'll probably bring the most to the table that we could get. Daddy P, obviously, with his skills, his mindset, and his knowledge of the game itself, would bring a good return. And just in general, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near a first-round pick for either of these guys. Maybe early second round, which isn't bad, and, maybe a good prospect or something in there. But if I was going to have to trade anybody to get the highest return, it would be Gosebert. That's for sure.
All right. And then for the next one, scroll up here. How many points will the Detroit Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin finish with in the 2023-2024 NHL season? 42% out of the 24 votes said 80 plus. Then the next best was 90 plus at 21%. Is this actually doable for Detroit Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin?
I am so happy we're talking about this one today because I got a pretty spicy take on this one.
Ooh,
I
give it
think
to us,
that
Matt.
now with us getting Debrincat, obviously we know his goal scoring prowess. He's hit 40 goals, I think, twice in his career. What is also underrated is his passing game. He has a very, very good passing game. He has really good vision for the ice, and he really can kind of get those passes through really tight seams. I think with Debrincat being on the top line and Raymond bouncing back and having a stronger season that we know he can score like maybe 60, 70 points, I don't think it's crazy to say that Dylan Larkin could be close to 100 points this next season. I don't know if I'm going to say he's going to get to 100 points. 90 points, I really feel like is possible for him. If he has these two guys who we got the young star and Raymond, who we know is going to bounce back. He has to bounce back or else we're kind of getting a little nervous here. And obviously we know what Debrincat can do. I fully believe in my heart that Larkin could be a 90-point player.
I mean,
I
go ahead.
would agree with that, considering that Larkin finished with 79 points in 80 games this year. So he missed 2 games, basically a point per game player. 3 seasons, he's made it over 30 goals in a season. And yeah, the addition of Alex Debrincat definitely will increase that assist total. And then it'll take some pressure off of him being able to score as well. So Larkin could definitely even push up for 35 plus goals this upcoming season. Derek, what do you think about it?
Oh, I mean, I just saw that post on Instagram from NHL, and they had him at a ranking of 84 points. And I was like, that looks beautiful because obviously they're going off of last season. But like Matt said, there's Debrincat getting tossed in there now. So his goal scoring capabilities and his passing capabilities are going to all play a huge factor in there with that first line. And with that capability, I think he's going to add at least another 10 to 15 points on what he got this season. So 90 plus, even is it maybe his first 100-point season? I don't know, but I believe everyone at the 21% at 90 plus points, I think that's more so on the line for what Larkin's probably going to do this season, especially with who he has with him on the lines. And obviously, we don't know who's that third wiener going to be up there for sure. Raymond probably, but hopefully we get somebody who's later down the line, once we get somebody to fill in that spot permanently, hopefully they're a great playmaker. And then obviously that'll shoot his point total up a lot, but we're talking for next season. So I think 90 plus is a very accurate area to look at for him.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's very doable. It's very achievable. And, you know, like we mentioned before in previous episodes, scoring is going up. Goalies aren't getting worse. The scoring is just going up. So adding that extra threat on the line definitely helps out Larkin for sure. All right. So the next player, how many points will Detroit Red Wings forward Alex Debrincat finish in the 23-24 NHL season? And you had a two-way tie at 32% with the 25 votes. 28% said 80 plus. You got 4% for both 90 and 100. Where do you guys feel like that Alex Debrincat will finish in this season? Me personally, I think that he's going to get the 70 plus. Do I think he's going to get the 40 goals? Maybe. But I do think it's going to be around the 35-ish number. But I do think that he will increase his assist total. I do think the fact of him being in his hometown, he's going to play extra hard, better, and just being more comfortable, because if you're following through with the season that he had with the Ottawa Senators last season, I think you just need to toss that out of the window. He kind of went to a spot with an organization that he really didn't want to be a part of. No offense to them, but he was in an unknown, unfamiliar area with players that he didn't really get time to build chemistry with. And so I do think coming home and being with players like Larkin, Raymond, some other Michigan natives as well, like Andrew Comfort, that's only going to help him out, and being surrounded by family members too. So what do you guys think about this? Where do you guys see Alex Debrincat finishing points wise?
Well, I'm definitely hoping, those 4%ers are the right choices there. But obviously, A lot
Yeah.
of a lot of factors will play into
Great.
this. He's coming to like you said, he's getting that change of scenery. He's coming to a new team, and hopefully, instead of what most players get is that one down season, trying to get acclimated to the area, trying to get acclimated to the team. He's going to be able to surpass that coming home, basically playing with players he knows, people around him, and hopefully that's just going to boost his stamina, boost his go-to attitude for like what he can do for the team, and he's going to be happy here. And obviously he's going to shoot for those higher 70, 80 points, and I'll be very happy. I don't think we'll see that 40 goals right away this year. I'm hoping more so he's going to be that playmaker for Larkin a little bit more. But also, if he got 30 plus goals, I'm not going to be upset. So I'm hoping in that range, that 70-point range, he's going to probably pan out for us pretty well in this first season.
Yeah, I think that was partially the reason why Yzerman went on and got him right. He's not just a goal scorer. He could be a playmaker as well. So that's great to see, and that's great to hear. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Matt, what do you think about Alex Debrincat this season?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Steve Yzerman because I do remember in his press conference after he traded for him, he actually talked a lot about his playmaking. You know, like obviously everybody knows that he's a goal scorer, but Steve Yzerman made it a point that he's like, listen, this is not a one-dimensional player. This is not like a Patrick Laine we're talking about. Like this kid makes plays. I just wanted to say that every time I remember that Debrincat is a Red Wing, it just makes me smile, makes me happy. I'm just so happy that he's home. But I think, like you said, Zach, this first season, I think he's probably going to want to build a little bit of chemistry with his teammates, which I would hope that he's already done that in the offseason. I'm sure he's been around them pretty often, and obviously he'll get more chemistry in training camp too. I would say 70 plus is probably a safe bet for him right now. He has hit 70 points twice in his career. His second year in Chicago, he had 76 points. And the year before he got traded to Ottawa, he had 78. So it's definitely possible that he gets back to 70 again. I think as far as just like goal totals go, I'd say anywhere from 30 to 35 is a pretty good mark for him, which that's already better than what he did in Ottawa. But yeah, throughout this contract, he'll be here for the next 4 years. I fully expect he's going to hit 40 goals at least once, maybe even twice during the span of that contract. Because, you know, obviously he's going to be playing with Larkin, ideally the whole time with that deal. You never know. Maybe Casper comes in this year or next year and he lights it up and he plays with Casper too. Maybe he's on wing. So you never really know. Maybe if we really want to get crazy with it today, which I do want to get crazy with it, maybe Lombardi plays with him and he's playmaking, you know? I mean, there's all sorts of things that can happen. So I'm very excited to see what he can do in Detroit. And I'm going to say 70 plus.
Yeah, for the people who did select the 60 plus, I think you're a little crazy. Sorry for those that are watching, but you know, like I mentioned, if you're going off of just based on what he did last season with Ottawa Sens, and then you kind of say that, oh, he only did the 40 goals because he played with Patrick Kane, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, well, he's never played with a center that was like Dylan Larkin, right? So that's going to help him out. And then if you go back and look at the Ottawa Sens, majority of the time he played on the third line where he wasn't getting enough playing time. He wasn't really getting enough opportunity. So playing on the top line, or at least in the top six, that's definitely going to give him the advantage to score more and just produce more. Derek, did you have more to say?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good on that one, yeah. Debrincat, 70 plus. I like it. Let's go.
My bad.
I'm getting his jersey.
Get it.
Yeah,
Get it,
I want to
buddy.
get his jersey too before Fanatics destroys the jersey market.
All right. Well, how many points will Detroit Red Wings forward Lucas Raymond finish with the 23-24 NHL season? 50% out of the 22 votes said 60 plus. And then you had a tie between the 50 and 70 with 23%. And then 5%, which was probably just one vote, said 80 plus. No one said 75, but all right. I like it.
Right,
so where do you guys see Lucas Raymond finishing? Obviously, this is bearing whether if he's on the first or second line. I don't foresee Lucas Raymond being on the third line ever in his career, unless obviously he comes back from injury and just needs time to acclimate. But for me, I would say 60 plus is definitely the expectation amongst fans. I think that that's where we need to see him be in that 25 goal range, 25 goal range, and then, you know, being in the 35 to 40 assist range. Especially if you're playing on that top line, you got to be a 60 plus player. if you're in the second line, the 60-plus mark is exactly where you need to be. So where do you guys see Lucas Raymond heading into this season, finishing it at least?
I would really love to say that he's going to explode next year and score 70-plus points, but his rookie season, he didn't even get 60 points. He was just shy of that, and obviously we all know this last season that he had a little bit of missed time with an injury. I think even still that time that he came back, he wasn't really like the full strength Lucas Raymond, and he wasn't playing at the level that we thought he could be. I've actually in the offseason been watching just like single player highlights from this past season. It's noticeable how much of a change Lucas Raymond went through after coming back from injury. Like before that, he was sniping it and honestly snapping it around too on the ice. He was passing well too. And then I don't know, I think it was like February he got injured and missed a week. And he came back and wasn't exactly the same player. So maybe that's just the severity of that injury was kind of downplayed a bit and he wanted to just rush back. You know how hockey players are. They don't want to miss any time. I think with a full training camp and off season, he should come back a lot stronger. I would expect 60 plus. I think that's a fair mark to give him now. That's a good total for him to build off of. And I totally expect in his prime, he'll be a 70 to 80 point player, maybe even better. So yeah, for next season, I'll say 60 plus.
Man, I'm just going off of what Zach would nonstop say about Raymond this season. It was his sophomore slump. That's all we saw. And he's going to come back next season, and he's going to destroy it with Larkin and Debrincat on that first line. I'm saying 70 plus on this guy. That 23 percenters, the bottom, the 50 plus. I don't know what y'all talking about. He did that his first season.
Okay, I like it.
70 plus, boys. I'm seeing it right now. That first line of ours is just going to explode this year. And oof, I don't want to have to fully rely on them. And hopefully the other couple lines can do their deeds too. But man, I just know our first line is going to blow up. So I'm going 70 plus, and I'm hoping that sophomore slump is all done for him. That injury isn't. He has enough time to recuperate. He's going to blow up the scene for us. I love it. That's what I'm going with.
It's very doable too, Derek. Like I'm right there with you. I'm just trying to stay safe with it personally. But I do think that the 70 plus is doable, especially now that you have Alex Debrincat being on there. So you have not only just Alex Debrincat, but Larkin technically is a weapon as well. Like I said, 3 seasons where he scored 30 plus. So that takes a lot of edge off of Raymond as well. And so it's going to be hard for teams to cover him up as well. No double teaming or anything like that. So there is a good opportunity for him to be a 70 plus point guy. And that's something that we need, right? We need more than just 50 point getters, which we had quite a few of them actually. A lot of lower scoring players as well. But let's move on. How many points will the Detroit Red Wings defenseman Seider finish in the 23-24 NHL season? I have 21 votes, 43% selected, 50 plus. Is this realistic? Yes, it is. This is very realistic, especially now that he has Jake Wallman, a full healthy Jake Wallman being his top pairing for the whole entire season. Now, if the Jake Wallman experiment doesn't work out, not even an experiment, I guess if it just doesn't work out like it did last season, you can always toss up Shane Ghostbear up there. That would be great. Seider just needs to keep doing what he's doing, being that hard-hitting defenseman, and the points will come for him. But I do think that 50 points is doable. Now it just all depends if Shane Ghostbear takes over that power play 1 unit over Seider. So what do you guys think about this?
Not only is 50 plus realistic, I feel it's low.
Thank you, Matt. That was exactly what I was about to say.
Jared. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you really took the words out of my mouth. It's perfect. I was like, the dude's already had a 50-point season and like a 47-point season, like 50 points. I'm like, is he supposed to like stay stagnant as a 22-year-old, 6'4", 205 defense? Nah. That man is not going to stay at 50. At least 60 to 70 points. I'm like, that 5% at the bottom, that one vote, I don't even think it was me, but I'm with that guy now. 70 plus, I would love to see, but realistically, 60 plus for sure this season. Not even going to be a hard thing for him to hit. Sorry, Matt, your turn.
Yeah, no,
all right.
It definitely seems 50 plus definitely seems low. Maybe people are just going with the safe bet, but absolutely not. I mean, Seider's only going to get better from here. It's going to help that he's playing with Wallman, and I imagine he probably will the whole season unless Wallman either gets injured or just absolutely falls off a cliff. Yeah, he doesn't have a boat anchor in Sherratt anymore, so I don't expect his numbers to fall off a cliff at all. He's only going to get better. He's our franchise defenseman. I've said he's going to win a Norris in the future. If he stops playing defense, that actually might come true, and he puts up like 90 points. But yeah, I think there's going to be big things from Seider next year.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy that 24% of the voters did say that 30 plus was going to be his end of season production. And I, like you said, Matt, I don't know if that's because people want to play it safe or the fact that they forgot that he was playing with boat anchor and Sherratt, but it's got to be more than that. That, or I don't know if people are just nervous that Shane Ghostbear is going to take over the PP1, but yeah, I think it's going to be 50 plus. It could be in the 60 range, 70 plus. He's got to have a breakout season to get something like that. And that's got to come from obviously the top line as well. And then just how much better our power play ends up producing. So we'll just have to wait and see. But fingers crossed for 70 plus. Please, Mo Seider, I got your jersey, buddy. I'll wear it every single game if you start killing it. All right. So this one's spicy. And this one took a lot of time to marinate because for a while it was stuck tied. And I'm glad to see we got a couple more votes in there. But with Joe Veleno still without a contract, which is most likely to happen? Does he get signed or does he get traded? I'm going to go out there and say this. Personally, I voted that he gets traded. It makes me a little nervous that he hasn't been signed yet. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I totally forgot that he didn't have a contract until you showed this. I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't have a contract yet. I don't know, man. I guess at this point, he's an RFA, so he doesn't need to be signed now. But at the same time, why does he not have a contract? Yeah, I feel like he's going to get traded at this point. I really do. I think it would have been done by now. And it's not going to be a big contract either, so I don't see any reason that he's not signed yet. I would be surprised if he's still on the team this next season without a contract.
I mean, at this point, what can you really do? You both said it all. Nope, he doesn't have a contract yet. It's so far into the offseason now, and I mean, I think he might be traded off at this point. Like, might as well, because we have enough centers to fill the gaps right now and a bunch on the back end that we really don't need a Joe Veleno anymore. I'm like, am I going to be upset if we give him a small contract to stay in Grand Rapids, baby? No. But will that benefit him the most? Probably not. So most likely, we might see Joe Veleno not being with the Red Wings anymore. If you couldn't tell, I chose trade.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. All right. We're almost to the end, folks. Which Detroit Red Wings prospect has the best chance of making the opening night roster for the 2023-24 season? I almost did a Tweety Bird voice there. That was insane. And 56% out of the 27 votes said Marco Kasper. That honestly kind of surprised me a little bit. I really was not expecting that. But very doable. Very, very doable. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's interesting that the two guys who have actually gotten NHL experience are voted less than Marco Kasper. I mean, Elmer Soderblom, I think, played like 20 games. So very shocking that he's like the second least voted option. And then, I guess with Simon Edvinsson, now that I think about it, I don't know if he's going to be ready for the start of the season. And he's obviously going to miss training camp and everything. So I could see him just getting like a little recuperation stint in Grand Rapids. And you never know. Maybe he'll just play like part of the season there and come back up. It's kind of weird with the shoulder injury and the surgery that he got. It's hard to really predict what's going to happen with him this next season, but I do fully expect he's going to be on the roster. I mean, it's not really insane. Like Marco Kasper, obviously we're very hyped about him. I think he's got a good shot at making the camp or making the team out of camp, but kind of weird that we voted him way over Soderblom, who, as I said before, has gotten games. So, yeah, kind of an odd one.
Hey, let's just remember that Marco Casper did have one game with the NHL. It wasn't very long. It wasn't a lot, but at the same time, I was still pretty content to see him up there playing with us for that one game. And let me tell you, watching his dad get that happy was pretty nice too. So I feel like everybody's basically going off of that one game we watched him in that he did pretty well in. And I believe he end up like breaking a hip or something? He broke something in that first game that he had with us and kept playing. Am I wrong?
His kneecap.
His freaking kneecap. And he kept playing. But he's supposed to be good by the time the season starts again. So after training camp, I can see him popping out and getting into the lineup pretty quickly. Well, I'm hoping. Because I know Edson, he played a lot of games, but he didn't really shine like we would want him to. So maybe a little bit more work down in Grand Rapids would be good for him before he comes up. I say give Casper that showing and see what he can do for the first couple games, or if anything. But it's really hit or miss with this group of guys that we have because, honestly, I'd love to see all of them up right now. But we all know that they need some time still to work and get a little bit better before we throw them all into the NHL and get their butts kicked really hard.
Yeah, like I said, I do think that it is a realistic chance that Marco Casper can make it out of camp. I think it kind of comes down to Daniel Sprong, what happens with him too.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
does.
so
That's a good point.
we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. I think that was it actually. Never mind. No more. Well, if there's a poll that you guys would like for us to do, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section. We would love to hear from you guys. And I think that's a good starting point for us to where we can say, thanks for joining us. I probably should have said this at the start of the episode, but I got so lost at the fact that this is our third time recording. But if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're new following us. But if you're returning, thanks for joining us once again. And as always, make sure you're smashing that like button because it turns the frown upside down. Right, Derek?
Right. There you go. Even though it's the same way upside down as frontwards, as I found out recently, but I'm forever going to keep doing it.
Bye-bye.
Friends!